Hello, everyone. Thanks for listening to Wake Up, Look Up, a podcast where we connect events happening in real time to the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm Zach Weihrauch. And in today's episode, we're asking the question, who drove us into debt? This is based on an article I read recently in the Wall Street Journal about the number of Americans who have bought a car that is now worth less than they owe. That's called negative equity. They haven't gained money, they've lost money. It's also referred to as being underwater or upside down. And it goes like this. If you buy a car for $30,000 and you take out a $30,000 loan, but then a year later, while you still owe, let's say $29,000, the car is worth $24,000, you have negative equity. You could sell the car, you would still owe $4,000 or $5,000 on the loan. That's because cars are depreciating assets. The minute you drive them off the lot, they are losing a little bit of their value. But when we borrow money, especially because of the interest, we are borrowing it at a rate that is higher than what the car will hold its value. And this is an experience that many, many Americans have. In fact, the article suggested that 1/3 of Americans who borrow money to buy a car are now upside down or underwater on their car. Their car is worth less than they owe for it. They could sell their car, but they would still owe money. That's 31 million Americans who have a car that is actually actively losing them money. In fact, the average negative equity is around $6,500. That's a lot of money for you to have to eventually pay for a car that you may no longer even be driving. That's a tough financial place to be. And of course, it begs the question, how did we get here? How did we get to the point where debt has become so regular for us and so commonplace that we will even buy something that in a month, 6 months, a year will be worth significantly less than we actually owe on it? When you wake up and realize you owe $6,500 more than your car is worth, who got us here? By the way, the article was looking particularly at people who have been in the pathway of the hurricanes and floods that have been happening in the South, because when a hurricane comes through and totals your car, the insurance will pay out what it's worth, not what you owe. So now you've gone through a hurricane, your car is totaled, and you owe $6,500. Well, the answer to the question, who got us here, is we did. We as a society decided that our status and our felt need of looking and feeling like we're important or having nice things was more important than financial prudence. We got ourselves here, and if we're going to get out, we're going to need someone else's wisdom to take us there. And that's why one of my favorite things to do on this podcast is to remind you that God has been giving us wisdom on finances for thousands of years in the scriptures. The same Bible that will tell us that the borrower is slave to the lender. The Bible's been telling us for a long time to be careful with money, to be careful about borrowing it, to be careful about spending it, to manage it with wisdom. God wants you to flourish financially, and He knows how to get you there. We don't. That's why we're in the state we're in. And so the first step is to stop having so much confidence in yourself. And the second step is to start gaining confidence in God's ability to lead you out. And I know situations are complex. Your story is complex. That's why I'm not on here telling you don't do this or do that. I'm just telling you seek the wisdom of God. By the way, if you're thinking, well, I don't know how to take the Bible and apply it to my personal finances and budget, that's what the local church is for. It's more than likely that the church you're a part of has a program or ministry designed for people like you to teach you the principles that the Bible has for handling money, to show you how to make wise purchases and avoid traps like being upside down in your car. Listen, settle in your heart that God knows what's best for you, you don't. And that chasing status and keeping up with the Joneses is ruining us financially. Let's stop listening to all the voices out there other than God's and to start letting Him drive us out of debt. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. While you're here, we'd love to ask you to hit subscribe or to like so you get future content. If you listen to the audio version too, make sure you leave a review and a comment. That really helps. Consider sharing it on social media and helping us get the word out. And hey, while you're here, check out all the other content that Christ Community Chapel is putting out, including the videos that are around me right now.